Hi guys, we are back with Harstem. We are talking StarCraft, and we ended up on the very interesting topic of what keeps you going, and also the experience that you had that when you actually won a tournament, a big tournament that was important to you, that uh, winning didn't feel like you expected it to feel, and yeah, that it took you some time to um, process that experience and to come back to certain routines and forms and motivation also. That was very interesting for me. So moving on a bit, um, as a pro gamer at this point in time, how do you feel about Blizzard, or let's say, okay, the new WCS system started now, and the new circle and circuits. And how do you feel about the short announcement period? Um, I mean, that is a problem for not only this year, but in general, it's a bit tough. There was a lot of uh, unhappiness on Twitter and in the forums also that they only announced it like a week before, and it's today, and this week is qualifier for IEM that is very important, and I'm hoping I'm not mixing up these things now.
No, no, no.
Uh,
Yeah, it's d disappointing every time. It's
mm,
like they keep letting you down over and over for some reason.
mm,
Uh, and it's quite disheartening because we put a lot of, we put a lot of time into what we do. I think a lot of StarCraft players are making extremely long weeks to, practice their best, and then it feels we don't necessarily need a holiday in the holiday season, but we do need some time off every now and then. Like every 5-6 months, you want to have at least 3 or 4 days where you kind of don't have to do anything. And maybe you want to go somewhere else. Or some of us have a girlfriend who they want to go on a holiday with. And there was a lot of guys, or even going to Korea to practice. There was a lot of guys who planned something for, I don't know, like in December from now till Christmas. And then all of a sudden, a week in advance, they start announcing the most important qualifiers that you're gonna have, in the next coming 4 months. And I think it's very hard to convince me that they didn't know when these qualifiers were gonna be held like 1 or 2 months ago. Like they know what events they're gonna do. And even just giving a rough estimate in what week these qualifiers are going to be would be super helpful for players. So it's very disheartening to see time after time that qualifiers get announced a week before, that qualifiers are overlapping. WESG and IEM, like
mm,
the
mm,
main events, are actually at the same date. And Blizzard wasn't even aware of this. They figured it out once the players started telling them, hey, you realize the pre-Olympic event and the final of WESG are at the same time. And I don't think a lot of players are going to drop WESG. Then the qualifiers for IEM and DreamHack were at the same time. Shoutcraft was at the same time as the
mm,
DreamHack qualifiers. I mean, it's all so preventable. That's what makes it so frustrating.
mm.
There's very good ways to prevent all that. Everyone is willing to work with Blizzard to help them prevent this. And here we are, time after time, we're getting shafted by, yeah, I think it would be hard to call it anything but incompetence at this point.
Yeah, it's weird because they have such a good team working on StarCraft, I feel, on the one hand, and on the other hand, like you said, it's happening all over again, and uh, even for us as fans, I think I totally agree with you. As a fan, speaking as a fan, I'm also disappointed because even like take me for example, I'm working, I'm married, like I have to actually make a plan to watch StarCraft,
Right.
and I mean not necessarily take a day off or whatever, but
No, but you have to plan stuff like tell your wife, like, hey,
yeah, yeah.
this weekend maybe. Sure, yeah.
So even for me, as a normal person following StarCraft, it would be very nice to know in advance, especially like you said, when the call, because the important stuff for you is most of the times the important stuff for a fan also to follow.
Yeah.
Especially if you are a fan of a certain player. And now, yeah, all of a sudden you have to maybe just watch the VODs or whatever. But that's not very satisfying.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah.
Sure.
So when I hear you right, you would say in your experience at this point in time, it's definitely preventable, and you would really hope for some form of new communication that helps prevent that type of thing to happen.
I
So,
mean,
mm,
it's just so it feels like it should be so easy to prevent this kind of stuff from happening. I know there's the communication channels for this are already set up with all the tournament organizers in there. It just feels like it's I don't know.
mm, mm,
It
yeah.
That's why it's so disheartening. Like if this was 2010 and no one was talking with each other, it was like you can't really like be angry at Blizzard for making sure that this doesn't happen like 2 or 3 times a year. But I mean, everyone knows each other right now in the scene. Like we got Wardy communicating with Rift King, they're communicating with Shoutcraft most likely, and like
Mm,
even in contact with DreamHack, I believe. Like everyone knows what everyone is doing, and they're keeping close tabs on each other to make sure that they're not interfering with each other's play dates. And then
mm,
Blizzard just kind of goes like, all right, bam, 16th of December, that's when we're playing our qualifier. And there's like 3 other tournaments planned in this period as well. And it just makes absolutely no sense. Like
mm,
they have the contact, they have everything. And yeah, it's just, it feels rough, you know?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as an outsider, you start to question if it's not intentional. I mean, I don't, guys listening to this, nah, I'm not throwing out any conspiracy theories here. It's just a big question mark. What's the what's the idea behind that? I mean, normally I feel in such a big company like Blizzard that actually has an esports team, and that's why don't put that extra effort and put in that extra effort and make something like this not happen. But yeah, we will see how it goes, and I wish you obviously as the player suffering from it the most, like all the other guys, that they find a better way to set this up. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's you know handless razor.
E-
The expression never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. I feel like it's very fitting for this situation. So the
yes.
conspiracy theories are nice, but I think
Yeah.
that's not an adequate explanation.
No. I think I heard the expression that you're describing. But okay, so what does it exactly say? So basically, could you just give it to me again?
Never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity.
Nice. I like it. Okay, let me just make a note of this, man. I just want to. How did you call it again?
Hanlon's razor.
Oh, yeah. Endless Razor. Oh, I love it. Because I'm working with people all the time, and uh, it's
It tends
like
to happen.
it tends to happen because of people in general, and not
Yeah.
out of malice. I like it very much. Yeah, cool. Thanks. Okay, so sort of in connection to that, at this point in time, as a pro player, do you feel that is there any issue that you feel is not properly discussed at the moment, like a problem or an issue that you feel that should be addressed, besides, for example, this logistic nightmare? Um,
Um,
yeah.
no, I think Blizzard has been making a lot of progress on almost everything. I think a lot of the things which they are doing are absolutely brilliant. Like the free to play is absolutely brilliant. The war chest is brilliant. Shoutcraft is brilliant.
Absolutely. Mm.
I think so many things they do are like extremely good. Like even though everything feels a little late. Uh, I think like the way one of the main things which I think they've done very well is the way they've started to treat map makers with a lot more respect with the Team Liquid map competition, putting some actual money on there, and you see that it actually pays off in the quality of maps. I think the map pool we're playing on right now is the best map pool we've had in years. Like these maps are extremely high quality. The map makers have done incredible work, and I think we could do more with that still. Like the war chest money, that's maybe the only thing I could suggest, like not really not being talked about, but the war chest money right now is I feel like we could use it in different places still. Like I'm not sure how much money they're making with it. I know that Total Biscuit is getting a good amount for Shoutcraft, which I think is good. I think the local scenes are very, very important and really shouldn't be underestimated. I just came back from the Dutch StarCraft League last weekend, and this is the kind of events that gets people back into playing or gets people to start playing. Like, I'm sure that everyone who was at the Dutch StarCraft League, like, is not gonna stop playing StarCraft for the next 3 months at least. Like, this is something that keeps people, you know. And myself, like it ignited something in me as well. Like it was a great time. It's just the local scenes are super important, and I feel like that would be something which Blizzard could support a little more. Make sure that a lot of local scenes have some extra money, because a lot of these events are kind of grassroots, and all of them use volunteers, and having to get the money is very hard for them as well. So I think it's something they could do. And then I guess the map makers. I really would like to see the map makers be compensated more for their work, because maps are such an integral part of the game and they're so important. Like they're so important. Like probably almost as important, equally as important as balance. And I mean, we have a balance team of 4 people working full time, or maybe 5 people working full time at Blizzard. I think we should have at least dedicated map makers who can justify putting time into making maps. And the best way to help someone justify making maps is to just give them money. So I wish that was, you know.
Yeah, I hear you. I like it. I like the input. And it's interesting because over the last year, since I started this whole thing with interviews, I think that's a thing that many people agree on, even me also as a fan, especially the grassroots thing, but also the map making. Yeah, very nice. I really hope that Blizzard hears the input of the players like you on that regard. Yeah, thanks so much. Let's move on to our last part and our a bit lighter stuff. So let me start out by asking a question that I like to ask. What is an interview question that you really don't like? In general, not necessarily to yourself, but in general.
A question you don't like. That's hard. Like the how do you feel after someone wins, but that one isn't done anymore. Like it's been beaten to death with how bad that question is. I think I don't know. I think we have very competent interviewers in StarCraft at the moment. You don't really get a lot of bad questions anymore. I wish there was a few more game related questions. Like most of the questions are quite on a basic level, you know, but it doesn't. Sometimes there's some really crafty stuff that goes on in series, like mind games, the way you set up a series, and I feel like that never really gets explained properly. So maybe something there, but on the other hand, a lot of players wouldn't want to explain how they went into the series, like with what game plan, because they might want to use it again or something similar. So it's very hard to give any specific question I think is bad, or any specific question that is good. I think we have very competent people on that, and yeah, I don't know. Like if they ask a bad question, it's more an incident than something that happens a lot. Sorry, it's a hard question to answer. Don't really have a good answer.
So that was not a good. Was it not a good question? Maybe
it was a very good question. Sometimes the question is good, but the answer is bad, and that doesn't necessarily have to be related.
Thank you so much. And also, but man, I like what you're saying that about the technical side of the questions, also or the discussion of the game. What game was it where the suddenly the you only could follow first person?
It was Scarlet versus Zest
Yes,
Home
yes,
Circuit on Catalyst. Yeah, I remember.
yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Ah,
that's actually, yeah, that has nothing to do with the technical side, but yeah, I think that's a big thing that we're missing in tournaments, the first person view, because the one thing that StarCraft really has going for itself is by how extremely hard it is and how extremely difficult it looks as well.
yes.
I mean, you see Scarlet play and it looks insane, but every player like this, like, they
Yeah.
all look insane, and if you watch this, I think it's quite inspiring and it's very fun. I saw some good news about that. I heard at IEM, the upcoming IEM in Korea, there will be there will be first person streams as well, or at least there will be first person incorporated in the stream. So
Very nice. Yeah,
that's a good thing.
yeah, yeah. With the technical thing, I meant also that what you described, that sometimes you don't realize what's going on in the game as a viewer,
Mm,
because on the one hand it's not explained sometimes, or it's not asked about. And this first person game was such a eye opener again. I mean, I play StarCraft myself, but I'm like on gold level, and
yeah,
I'm really bad. And I know that, but it's just so amazing that I was watching that and I was enjoying that so much, and the commentating and everything. Yeah, yeah, very nice. So Harstem, the player Harstem, not necessarily the person, maybe, um,
mhm.
is quite known. There are many stories floating around over the years that about party stories with you. And some of the stories you yourself tell, and some stories other people tell. It's quite a thing, of at least when somebody follows you a bit. Um,
Sure.
is there a story that you personally um, is one of your favorites?
It's the problem with stories is it's very hard to tell a story without having other people also being in the story and maybe not looking as good as they would like to be. So I'm
Mm.
very careful with telling stories uh, when there's other people involved. I think the best stories usually are the ones where either it's just yourself and nothing bad happens, or something bad happens to yourself and you can all laugh about it. So I can't really think on the top of my head of a good story that I could share right now, because a lot of them have other people in them, and I don't want to, you don't snitch on your friends. So
Absolutely.
it's a it it, it 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 would be hard to think of one on the spot. But yeah, that one of the very good things about StarCraft is there tends to be very nice after parties after tournaments, and yeah,
Nice.
we have a good time there. The frustration gets let out for sure.
Yeah, and that's a good thing, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, then I will leave it at that. I will not poke anymore.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, we are coming to an end, and I would like to thank you very much for your time and for your answers. And I would like to give you the opportunity also to maybe any last comments, shout outs, whatever you like.
Oh well. First of all, of course, thank you very much for having me. It's been it's been a very long time since I've done an in-depth interview like this that lasted for more than 5 or 10 minutes. Very, and I think it's one of the first very long ones where I think most of the questions were actually very good. So thank you very much for that. And yeah, I'd like to thank a shout out to my team, Asterion, and its
Mhm.
main sponsor, Mijn Domein. And anyone who doesn't yet, feel free to tune into my stream every morning, 11 a.m. Central European time till 2 a.m. We're there 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, year after year, Benjamin. So yeah,
There you
that's it.
go.
Well,
Yeah, thank you so much. I will obviously also put your Twitter and your Twitch channel in the comments later, guys. So
Perfect.
please follow Harstem and support him. It's worth your time and your money, in my opinion. Yeah, thank you so much, and I wish you all the best for the new StarCraft year that is coming up. And you guys listening in, have a very good end of the year, and we see each other probably next year, hopefully. Okay, guys, bye bye.